Good afternoon. Welcome to the Pasquale Project. I'm your host, Zeb Pasquale. This is my first ever episode with a guest who is not in the state, like first ever online episode. So I'm a little excited and nervous. I don't know what I'm doing. It's going to be fun. So my next guest is an old friend of mine from years past. We met at Pertranic Fitness then, that soon became CrossFit LA. And we've seen each other through lots of ups and downs, business-wise, athletically, personally. He is an awesome athlete. I was impressed with him right away. First of all, because he's this tall motherfucker, and he did main site on his own before he joined the gym. And then he had to move away. He had to take care of some stuff. But we always kept in touch. We always saw eye to eye on things. He helped me with a lot of my other projects that I did. And he's got some awesome developments. He owns a gym in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I'm super happy for him. I'm really excited to have him on the show. Chris Mello, thanks so much for coming on.
Dude, thanks for having me, buddy.
For the listeners listening now, we literally had like 7 minutes worth of awesome shit that we may or may not ever see the light of day because I got interrupted and I accidentally killed the fucking recording. So we're just gonna rehash. There's so much I want to talk about and ask, but some of it is for me to tell. I feel like some of it is for you to tell. So, Chris, could you just give a background where you're from and how you got into fitness?
Right. So, born and raised in Southern California. Grew up in Anaheim by Disneyland. So I'm a homegrown California boy. I think my whole evolution of where I got today was an athletic spirit was born in me at age 12 when I just started getting into basketball. I played a lot of sports growing up, but once I hit about 12 years old, I figured out basketball was my sport. And I just got obsessed and breathed, and lived it.
Awesome.
And from there, that's, spurred into my fitness passion. I started lifting weights at 16, and I wanted to get stronger to play on the varsity squad at Mater Dei in Santa Ana. And so once I started lifting weights, I was a tall, skinny motherfucker.
Yes.
And my first exposure of lifting weights was 16 years old with the off-season lifting football team at Mater Dei. And I remember that I was 6'3" as a freshman. I was 157 pounds. And I was like, I just remember I was tall. I was athletic, but just skinny and awkward. And I felt really out of place.
Yeah.
And they put us on this. We asked the football coach to get us on this lifting program. And me and a buddy that was in a similar physical state we both jumped in. We were the only guys in the basketball program to do it.
Yeah.
And they put us on supplements, and it was 4 days a week of lifting. And I just got amazing results in like the first 10 weeks. I think I gained like 12 pounds in 10 weeks. And my fitness passion was just born. I was
awesome.
Like this, not only did I get the results, but it totally changed like my confidence from the inside. And it was just a game changer. So from then I just got really into fitness.
Okay.
And then when I finished high school, my dad's like, you got to get a job. So I got a job at the local Globo gym and did that for a couple of years at the front desk, turned into a trainer.
Yeah.
And then once I became a trainer, I just went through their 2-week program, and this was 2001.
Yeah.
And it opened my mind to a whole new world of fitness that I never knew.
Awesome.
And so it really just was awesome. And then from there, I met my wife. She started working at the gym, so she was just as passionate about health and fitness as I was, so we were just a match made in heaven. We went to college together, and then fast forward 6 years later, we got married in 2007. And
nice.
Right before we got married, and in between, when I met her and we got married, I developed this entrepreneurial spirit where I just got really into personal development and sales and just trying to be a better person.
Yeah, I want to dig into that too. Like, when did that start?
So I was approached. I was working at 24 Fitness in 2004.
Yeah.
And one of my clients, who I knew was really well off financially, she'd spend about $1,500 a month in training, and she never batted an eye financially. We got along really well.
Yeah.
And she asked me this simple question. It was like March of 2004.
Okay.
She's like, "Hey, Chris, what do you want to do after college?"
Yeah.
And I told her my knee-jerk reaction was, "Well, I don't want to be a trainer for the rest of my life."
You do or do not?
Do not. I do not want to be just a trainer for the rest of my life. I don't want to be stuck at a gym and just a slave to my job.
Sure.
So she said, hey, you might want to look at what my husband does. He's always looking for young, sharp, motivated people, and I think you might be interested in what he has to say. So I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll listen to any opportunity at the time. So I went to his office, and he kind of showed me what he did, and it was essentially like a network marketing company that sold insurance and annuities, and it was awesome because it was kind of like how I would teach people how to be healthy. He was teaching people how to be wealthy. So the translation was very on par with my passion to help. Yeah. And I wanted to learn how to make money and understand money just like I used to want to learn how to get healthy and strong. So the big thing about that company is they would just jam personal development, sales, leadership just down your throat. And I bought in hook, line, and sinker.
Yes.
So I loved it. And I just remember I would drive 30,000 miles a year. Yeah. And I just wouldn't listen to the radio. I would just listen to audio and CDs at the time, and I just crush it. So I really ate up the development side. Awesome. So that spurred this entrepreneurial passion.
Awesome.
So from 2004 and then up to 2007, we got married. We moved from Orange County to Santa Monica.
Okay.
And that's right when I found CrossFit. And that's why I met you. So when I first walked in to that Petronic Fitness, I looked at it, I was like, oh my God, this is what I want to do, because it married the athletic spirit to the entrepreneurial spirit.
Yes.
And I was like, this is what I want to do, and I didn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
So we jumped in and did the baseline. My wife and I both did it with Andy. And that's when I really knew what CrossFit was, because before I was just kind of dinking around at a global gym, just kind of copying workouts. And I didn't really have an understanding of the intensity or the time.
Yeah.
And once I went through that baseline, I was like, oh, now I get it. Because it was awesome. It crushed me.
Yes.
And so I was like, he showed us the prices.
Yep.
And he's like, oh, $300 for unlimited and $99 a month for one time a week. And my babe's like, hell fucking no. Starving, newly married, just moved to Santa Monica, spending $1,700 on a one-bedroom, no garage, no laundry apartment. That was out of the question at the time. So,
first world problems.
Golly. So she's like, you got to get more personal training clients, because I was doing more personal training at the time, so that we could afford you to do it. So I literally remember for 6 months, I would drive by there twice a day, just trying to feel it and soak it and get an understanding of it. And then, like you said, I was doing the main site workouts at gyms or parks or Muscle Beach and just trying to figure it out. But I fell in love with it. Yeah. And eventually, in March, we finally were in the position where she gave me the green light, and I joined and did one time a week.
Yep.
And the first workout I ever did was with you.
Okay. Do you remember the workout?
I do. It was a Monday night. I think it was like a 7:30 class, and we did Michael.
Okay, yes, because I was going to say, I remember doing the workout with you too, and I remember it involved running, and I just watched you fucking disappear into the mist. Like, I just remember watching you run like the fucking wind, and I'm like, okay, well, there goes that fucking guy. Like, all right, I guess he's good.
And the crazy thing is I didn't know what the hell I was doing, so I didn't know any better, so that's why I was running so fast. Because now I wouldn't run that fast.
Yes.
You know better.
Oh, yeah, you know better. Like, when you first start, you're just like, I'm going to fucking crush this shit.
So I remember just going in there, and there's probably like 5 or 6 people, and you were one of it. We kind of just did our kind of superficial highs and like, what's up? And we were like all broed up because we didn't know each other.
Yep.
And then we just kind of, I don't know, we kind of struck a chord. I think we just felt each other's energy.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of developed from there. And man, then we became really great friends really fast, I think, like you said.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's basically how I got to CrossFit. And then I went and got certified. A few months later, and that's when Annie dropped the bomb and said she wanted to leave California and move to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And you, as well as anybody, know that people in California think South Dakota is North Dakota.
Yes.
And they think that they associate North Dakota with the movie Fargo and think it's 9 months out of the year. So it's like, where the hell are you taking me?
Yes.
But honestly, like, the carrot for me was, at the time, you look at the main site, and you know exactly what I mean by saying the red dot.
Yeah.
And there was a red dot on the state of South Dakota. Yeah. And what that means is there's no affiliates in that state if there's a red dot. If there's a green dot, there were one or more affiliates. So South Dakota had 0 CrossFits at the time. And I said, well, shit, if I'm going to do this, then I'm going to definitely if I'm going to move to South Dakota, I'm definitely going to figure out this. So we moved in October of 2008. I met a guy online through the forums. We kind of started it up front
Mm-hmm.
together, and then just kind of went from there. And so we did that for 2 years, kind of figured out, we were asking ourselves these questions: Is Sioux Falls going to be it? Because at the time it was a year and a half. We were in Sioux Falls.
Yeah.
The gym was going great. We had great community, great friends. We bought a house, and everything was going awesome. And we just kept going on our walks and asking ourselves, are we going to plant our flag in Sioux Falls? Is this going to be it?
Right.
And right when we just started just asking those questions, not even really entertaining it, just asking, we had an opportunity to sell the gym, and we just took the opportunity. And so we were there. We started the gym in January of 2009,
Mm-hmm.
and we literally sold the gym December 31st of 2010.
Wow.
And so then we stayed in touch from when we met
Yeah.
in 2008 to then, but we decided to come back to California
Yeah.
and give it one more shot because everything
Yeah.
happened so fast. We're like, well, let's go back to Cali and, be by our family and all this stuff. And I was scrambling to kind of figure out what I wanted to do because I loved what I did. I didn't anticipate selling the gym or even leaving the fitness industry.
Right.
But you helped me, and you and Kenny Kane helped me to kind of get positioned with the next gym.
Yeah.
And became a manager there. And then we got to hang out a little bit more and talk more because now we were living in the same state.
Yes.
But then the same thing happened. Like a year and a half into that,
Yeah.
I asked myself the hard questioning. I'm like, am I going to work for somebody for the rest of my life? Because everybody would ask me at the gym, hey, do you own this place? Do you
Right.
run the gym? And I'm like,
Right.
no, because I acted like an owner because I was so vested in
Yes.
the people and myself. So they start asking me, do you run this place?
Right.
And so that kind of planted the seed to like, hey, start looking around and seeing because the dream at the time was, okay, now I'm ready to own again, but I wanted to have the gym plus the beach.
Yes. Exactly. Yes.
So we tried in 2013 to really open a gym for the first 6 months, like hardcore, like really hardcore. We left the gym, we moved in with her Annie's stepdad for 6 months to save money, and we put a full head effort to try to open a gym in somewhere in California, and it just never worked.
I remember. Yeah.
And
It's
it was
tough,
just
man.
really hard, because we were living in the room that she grew up in.
Yeah.
And really had to humble ourselves.
Yeah.
And it was just a gnarly experience that we could probably talk about if you want more.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we got 6 months into 2011 2013. 2013
Yeah.
was the time. And just kind of soul searched. And we come to figure out that everywhere where we wanted to go with the next phase in our life was right back where we left it. So we ended up moving back to Sioux Falls and then starting our gym now, which is CPM Fitness. So we came back here in July of 13.
Yeah.
And since then, we've opened 2 locations and we have a corporate account and,
Awesome.
quite a few trainers. And then we found Mad Lab in 2016. So we've been doing that.
Yeah.
And so, that's where we're at today. I mean, that's kind of the shortest, longest story I could tell you.
Sure. I actually want to ask why Sioux Falls, South Dakota in general? Like, what are the advantages of Sioux Falls, South Dakota in general? And what are the advantages for the Mello family, for you guys specifically?
Yeah, I think originally Annie wanted to get back to her roots the first time,
Mm-hmm.
and I had no concept of Sioux Falls.
And that's where she's from?
She was born in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Her parents grew up here.
Okay.
And when she was real young, about 2 or 3, her mom and her moved to California because her mom was a dancer. And she wanted to kind of live the LA dream with dancing. So she moved Annie and her out here when she was like 2 or 3 years old. And so I think Annie always had that primitive instinct that she wanted to get back to her roots.
Oh.
And honestly, at the time when we first moved, we both didn't have a career. We didn't have kids.
Yeah.
I think we were both up for an adventure. I was secretly
Yes.
up for an adventure because
Yes.
we stayed home for college. We kind of been there, done that with California, and we needed to change something.
Yeah.
So that was the first reason why we moved. And then I had that entrepreneur spirit. But I think the second time we moved, after leaving the California gym and trying to start a gym and it not working, it's just like I still wanted to run a gym in a community, like
Yes.
a CrossFit gym.
Yeah.
And California just didn't support it. And we tried, we tried going from Redondo Beach to the west side to Orange County to everywhere, you know what I mean, to San Fernando Valley. Like we literally looked at like 50 locations.
Yeah.
And nothing was working, like parking variances and negotiations and rent and money and partners and like everything was forcing us not to do it. So I really had to take a step back and think, why is nothing working? You know what I mean? And, am I trying to force something that's not supposed to be?
I remember when you said that. I remember when you said that to me.
And so I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't know how to get it. And then I started, we sat back and we reflected and we're like, why did we leave South Dakota in the first place if everything was going well? Because literally when we opened that gym, CrossFit Sioux Falls in 2008 or 9, everything worked. Like it was stupid. Like literally we would put people through that same baseline that I went through. They would puke, they would barf, and they would sign up. And then the more people that barfed, the more friends they would bring. Like it was just like this crazy revolution that I had no idea what I was doing, but I knew I was doing it right. And it just kept working. So everything worked in Sioux Falls. Nothing was working in California. And then we always had the attraction of Sioux Falls with the pace of life, the ease of entry, everything's simple. Like almost everything that's good about California is bad about Sioux Falls, and everything that's bad about California is good about Sioux Falls. Like traffic versus weather. Taxes, everything. It's just weird. So it's like this, and for me, Sioux Falls really reminds me of how I grew up, and I had a really awesome childhood, where it was just very like simple pace. Everything was normal. Everybody was happy. Everything just worked. So that's what kind of Sioux Falls reminds me of is how I grew up in my childhood.
Okay.
So, I mean, I think that answers your question. I like these long format things, so sometimes I like to ramble and you never have time to.
No, yeah, I love podcasting for that reason. And I love the fact that we have so many tools that are available to us. Like, for example, Instagram stories are 15 seconds.
Right.
Instagram videos are a minute. Facebook has the live feature, and you can put videos up there as well. YouTube, you can do long form, and podcasts, you can do long form.
Yeah.
And like I think it's to our advantage to use them all. But I like you said before, I think this is a great excuse to catch up and to bro out, but also for listeners to hear different takes on on California versus Sioux Falls, and for myself because everything you've said was true. And I remember when you and I would do like long bro beach days, and I would try to present arguments and fight for you to stay.
Yeah.
And then you would tell me, number one, that all my arguments are correct. However, when implemented in the real world, none of them worked. And I was still very green back then and very naive back then. But now everything you're saying is like, it's tough if you want to open up a gym in like a nice area in California near the beach. Like,
honestly, it's damn near impossible.
It's almost impossible.
It really is.
From an economic standpoint and a location standpoint, you need to have so much starting capital, so much cash flow, so much investment, multiple partners, and the city and the zoning to be in your favor, and the timing. There's so much stuff involved.
It's kind of like California supports really large companies and corporations.
Yes, exactly.
But it really can't support small business.
Right. It's almost as if it's very difficult for a starting small business owner.
Right.
Like if you're an employee, California is very friendly to you. If you're a big business, it's not that California is very friendly to you, but it's just like it's a power play between the big business and between the government. But if you're a small business owner trying to make it, it's like Indiana Jones inside of the Temple of Doom.
Right.
Like you could get your legs cut off at literally any second unless you have a lot of support.
Exactly. Yeah. It doesn't make a lot of sense financially or or fulfillment wise at that stage in the game. Yeah.
Yeah. So looking back, I was so upset and so sad when you left because I illogically take it personally when friends of mine leave.
Well, it's tough because like we feel like that we're brothers and we've known each other forever, and it's like your brother's leaving.
Yes.
And it's just like this is the way it's got to be. I remember we even tried to talk about like how can we do something together? How can we merge and make something work? Just because we wanted we wanted to be around each other.
Yeah.
And how could we make it work? And it's like, you know, this is how it works with us. We just have to stay in touch and just kind of,
For sure.
you know, learn from each other through afar. You know, even though it's not the preferred, it's like, it's definitely the way it is, and it's still great.
It is still great. And like I said, I'll always support, I'll support my friends and their families 100%. I know you were married at the time, and I knew you guys were, you know, it's imperative for you to have a system set up for the success of the future.
Right.
And I can feel how more conducive Sioux Falls was to that future than California.
Yeah.
And I begrudgingly accepted that.
Right.
You know, and it sucks, man, because like one of my best friends, Jess Legg, she remembers the intro that you and I gave together. You know, and we were like good salesman, bad salesman.
Right.
Or like
it was
good,
awesome.
yeah, it was so great. Like good salesman, evil salesman, whatever.
Yeah.
And you know, my thing was very much like, this is what I love doing. I believe that it's great for humanity, and I believe it's great for individuals. But I don't have a quota on how many people I need, and I purposely withheld the near miraculous things that this stuff can bestow upon people.
Right.
But then there was you who was like, this shit cures cancer.
Yep.
This shit like gives you bulletproof skin. Like all these things. It was every itch the salesman
should be doing pull-ups and you can bang out 50 in a workout.
Yes,
like,
dude.
It's like a phenomenon, you know?
So I figured the people that I would get because of me, but I wouldn't get because of me, you would get because you were you. Right. And it was so great. There was this whole plan I had, but you know, it's like I said, things don't always work out the way you think. But here we are doing something that I never thought I'd be doing, which is hosting a podcast on the internet webs.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
totally.
Yeah. So Sioux Falls is a place that where it is easier to accomplish everything that you said was almost impossible to accomplish here in California.
Yeah, we literally. So here's the thing. It was like June.
Yeah.
Of 2013, and we were at the end of our rope trying to find a location in a gym, and we were literally talking to this location in Montrose, California, which is right outside Glendale.
Yeah.
And we were going back and forth with their realtor, and it was like 12 weeks. So throughout this 12 weeks, we thought we were going to get it. We didn't think it. Then we came back, and so it was just a negotiation that was way too far extended. And this was like, because we looked everywhere else in the Southern California area. This was our only chance because it was a grandfathered gym, so we could bypass all of the legalities that were not allowing you to do it. But it wasn't even the most ideal space, but it was like the only thing that we had left, right?
Yeah.
So it got to the point where we knew they were dicking us around. Yeah. And so I said to our realtor, you know, they've got to tell us yes or no by Friday, and it was Wednesday at the time, that it's yes or no, and so we can move on, because this is just, it's holding us back. It was just stalling for the sake of stalling at this point.
Right.
And so he told him, and then they called us back in like an hour, and they said it's a no. So like literally our last chance of like making this the dream at the time of living by the beach and having a gym, it literally like died. You know what I mean? It just stabbed me in the heart.
Right.
And so that's where Andy and I had this like come to Jesus moment. And so we're like, you know what? Let's just, you go your way, I'll go my way, and we'll think about this, and then we'll come together and we'll figure this out. So we decided that we were going to go to visit her grandparents in Minnesota, which is north of South Dakota.
Okay.
And that was our 4th of July vacation spot. We would go to the lake. So the lake in the Midwest is like the beach in California. Okay. So people would go to the lake like people would go to the beach in California.
Yes.
So we would go to the lake close kind of in June. When was it? It was like May or something, like Memorial.
Okay.
And we get there, and we just called our old commercial broker just to like, because we were flying into Sioux Falls, just to like snoop around, you know? And so her first question is like, are you guys thinking about moving back? And we're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So we met with her, and she kind of drove us around, and she's like, hey, I've got like 3 locations that could be potential. And literally we weren't even thinking about moving back at this time. It was just like, we were totally like, just like probing, just investigating, just curious. And we go by one spot, and it wasn't the right spot. And then we go by the second spot, and it was in this indoor mall in Sioux Falls.
Yeah.
And we walk in there.
I remember this. Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, and we walk in, I'm like, they're never going to let us like drop weights in this spot. They're never going to let us run through an indoor mall.
Yeah.
And it was a small older mall. It wasn't like a typical mall in California today. It was more of an outdated type of mall. And so everything that I thought they weren't going to do was they won't let us run. They won't let us play loud music. They won't let us drop weights. And we walk in there and Annie's like, holy shit, this is the spot. And I was like, no way. And the realtor's like, hey, let's just ask him. Let's just write everything down and see what he has to say. So we ended up, getting it together and emailing the guy. And we go to the lake the next day. And then literally that day, the day that we got to the lake, our broker calls us and goes, so they accepted your offer with no counter. And we lowballed the price. So let's say it, and this is a figurative example. Like let's say it's $10 a square foot.
Yep.
We threw in $8 a square foot.
Wow. And there was no counter.
He didn't even counter. He's like, he accepts your deal. So we're like, literally, the second spot we just looked at, we lowball the price. Yep. And he says yes without a counter when we literally were spending 40 hours a week for 6 months trying to figure this out.
In California.
Like it was so opposite. It was crazy.
Yeah. I get it.
So then we just, like, holy shit, man.
Yeah.
And then we're like, well, I guess we're moving back to Sioux Falls.
Damn it.
But I mean, honestly, like if you had to like have the check boxes for us and our future, it was like it supports a family lifestyle of balance.
Yeah.
It supports a community and friendship.
Yeah.
It supports a really balanced pace of life. It supports small business and career opportunity. And and even for us too, like both of our parents in California lived an hour apart in opposite directions. So, that puts a strain on trying to, satisfy time with each of those. So it put a lot of strain on there. So like we really removed all the distractions in our life.
Yes.
And we wanted and still do wanted to hit it so hard in our business and in our personal growth. So we literally erased every distraction that we had in California: traffic, stress, money, family, old high school friends, this, that, anything that was any kind of baggage holding us back from our development and our growth. Literally, there was zero of that in Sioux Falls. And Annie and I were so on the same page of where we wanted to go and who we were, that it was a home run. And that's exactly what it did. It really allowed us in the last 5 years to put our head down and really push really hard, interpersonally, professionally, personally. Like it's just been crazy,
It's almost as if the choice made itself.
Right, and it really has erased all the woulda, shoulda, couldas. Because if we never moved back to California the second time, we always would have questioned, is Sioux Falls really it? Is California better? Is the grass always greener? And we really erased all the woulda, shoulda, couldas with those thoughts. And now it's like, when we came back, we were totally clear, totally set. And now it's just a matter of get to work and create the life that you want to lead.
Yeah, I mean, I mean it when I say I'm super happy for you. Like it's
totally.
Beautiful. I wish that for all my friends. And like I can't believe I'm saying this, but like the older we get, our priorities shift.
Totally, do they have to?
I mean? Yeah, because like as a young man, all you want to do is like pump weights and be legit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, GTL, dude.
Exactly, just GTL all day. But then I'm officiating 4 fucking weddings this year.
Yeah.
And all of them are my friends. And so many of my friends are like getting hitched and having kids, and I can see the priorities change. I can see how, and not for the worse, so much for the better.
Absolutely.
And I can see it in you because, like before I move forward with this line of thought, do you want to tell the audience the newest development in the Mello?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm 37 years old. I turned 38 in about a week, and Annie and I are having our first child.
Awesome! Congratulations.
And we're actually having twins. So we've been together for 17 years.
Oh,
we've been married for 11.
Yes.
With no kids.
Yeah.
And now we're having twins. So we're having 2 boys
in
mid-October. So we're super pumped because that was the plan all along. Move here because it's going to support that family lifestyle.
Congratulations, dude.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, we're super pumped.
I'm
so
trying
like
to
you
imagine
said, like everything's a season in life.
Yes.
You have to have seasons because that's how you evolve, and that's how you reap all the parts of life.
Yes. I mean, I think you're going to be a tremendous father and business owner and entrepreneur. I think you and Annie are like have found your place. Like your geographical place and your emotional place.
Right.
and I like I'm trying to imagine the world with two more Chris Mellos in it.
Yeah.
Or are they? Do you know the sexes?
2 boys.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, they're doing great too. She's
Dude.
she's like 25 and a half weeks, so she's doing really good. The boys are doing really good.
Awesome. So that means October?
Mid-October.
Okay, cool. Do you have names? No.
Yeah, we do. Oh yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah. JD and CJ, Jackson David and Connor James.
Awesome. I can't.
We even know which one's which too.
Yeah. Oh, do you really?
With all the 3D 4D,
Yes.
ultrasounds, you can see like who's who. So we already named the 2 of them already. Anyway,
I love it.
It's
Dude,
cool.
That's so cool. Okay, so let's speak to gym economics.
Let's do it.
So you've been you've been athlete, trainer, gym owner, gym owner. Like you've sold the gym and then you've reopened another one.
Right.
So first of all, describe the name of your. Tell us about the name of your gym and what it stands for.
It's CPM Fitness.
Yep.
It officially stands for Courage, Potential, Motivation.
Fuck yeah.
On the other side, when we sold the CrossFit gym in Sioux Falls the first time, I started a personal blog because I was used to writing blogs anyway. So when we sold it, I'm like, well, I'm going to keep the blogging and the branding going. So it was CPM Fitness Blogspot. That was the acronyms, but it also so happens to be my name is Christopher Paul Mello.
I had no idea, dude. I've known you for over fucking 10 years. I never knew your name was CPM.
Because that was my email. My email is cpmfitness@gmail.
You son of a bitch.
And so I made that a blog. So then when we came back to Sioux Falls the second time, we're like, what are we going to name the gym? Because we were not going to affiliate with CrossFit.
Yeah.
And she's like, and Annie goes, why don't you name it CPM Fitness? I'm like, babe, are you sure?
Yes.
And she's like, yeah, it's really great. It's perfect. Because her personal brand is Fit Chick.
Okay.
So when I started CPM Fitness Blogspot, she started Fit Chick LA.
Yes.
So Fit Chick is her personal brand. CPM is my personal brand.
Yes.
So when we thought about the gym, she's like, let's use CPM Fitness because we're not going to use Fit Chick.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, are you sure you want to do that? Really, it stands for Courage, Potential, Motivation.
Awesome. I'm happy.
So that's our personal brand gym.
Okay. So here's another thing. This is like philosophical / business question. So there's a tension and a strain between the only constant. On the one hand, you have the only constant in life is change, and then on the other hand, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Right.
So for example, here's what I'm looking at, like in business, especially gym business, fitness industry type stuff. Can you speak to how the landscape of our field has changed in the last 10 years, and what you have to do to stay on top of these changes against what are the fundamental timeless principles that do not change?
Damn it, that's a great question. I think I have a great answer.
Dude, fucking go for it.
Fucking A, dude. Like, this is the kind of conversation I like to have with people, and that's why you and I get along so well.
Agreed.
So here's something that I heard maybe a year ago. That's one of these principles that I stand by, okay?
Do it.
The principle remains the same. The strategy needs to change.
Okay.
So everything that has always worked will continue to always work.
Yes.
The strategy is in the delivery, right?
Okay.
And this is a perfect example, right? So I'm getting into Mad Labs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they start their marketing school and they do their marketing podcast, and they had a really great episode probably almost 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And they talk about how you market your gym. And so in 2009, what did everybody do that owned a CrossFit gym? They started a Facebook page and they started a blog, right? They would post their workouts. They would copycat the main site.
Yes.
So they post a picture, post their blog, and post the workout of the day.
Yes.
And members would be pulled into the website because they wanted to know the workout and they wanted to be involved and celebritized in their community, right? Mm-hmm. Those principles, being a web celebrity, wanting to be a part of the community, and wanting to know the workout, that will never change. People will always want that.
Yes.
But producing a WordPress blog as your sole source of marketing is not the strategy today.
Correct.
And I totally like I had a light bulb. Like, I'm doing the thing that works, and I was wondering why it wasn't working. It's because today's world they don't read blogs anymore. They
Right.
listen to podcasts.
Yes.
They watch YouTube videos.
Yes.
They do Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing something for so long because I didn't wake up. So I think to answer your question is people value relationships. We talk
Mm-hmm.
about relationship marketing all the time, or building professional relationships. We need that human in-person interaction. That's never going to go away. But it's just
Yes.
how do you leverage and scale that according to your local needs, your business needs, and that kind of thing.
Yes. And first, so number one, do you remember who was the 10 handsome, successful, strong, powerful guy who introduced you to MedLab?
Zeb Pascal.
Okay, and then for the thank you, Chris.
Yep, referral. You need to
yeah,
get your referral check, dude.
I really do. Yeah. Also, can you quickly describe the MadLab model? So for the people who don't know who are listening.
So MadLab is a gym consulting business,
Mm-hmm.
and they specialize in small boutique gyms, and they basically their job is to teach a gym how to be sustainable and solvent,
Yes.
and teach a fitness coach how to turn themselves into a professional fitness coach, so they make a professional wage and have a professional living.
Okay, beautiful. So here's my next question. Now 2018, are you yourself personally in a better place, like in your own mind and in your own practice than like your struggling years? Like, was the goal of your struggling years met? Like, or are you on your way? Are you in a better position now than you were like 5 or 6 years ago? Than what you were talking about?
No, I think definitely. I think I've always searched for structure and progression
Mm-hmm.
in my own personal self, but also in the business side too.
Yeah.
And so I definitely have a clear focus and vision
Mm-hmm.
on where I need to do. I think, to be quite honest, I'm still paying back a lot of years of brand
Of
culture
course.
debt
Yes.
that was created from the original model, which
Yes.
I didn't really understand,
Yeah.
which I know most gym owners, everybody really just played the copycat game.
Yeah.
And they were running their fitness gym off passion and grassroots organic feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And now gym owners that are in it, that want to improve, they've learned how to, take the steps needed to now master the business side of things. Because I think all coaches like you and I that are really knee deep into this and have a lot of experience, we've mastered the art of coaching.
Yeah.
The last 2 years has me learning how to master the art of ownership, leadership,
Yes.
duplication. And so it's been a two-way thing where on one end, I've really tried to professionalize myself as an owner and
Mm-hmm.
learn how to do that.
Yes.
But then it's also getting the team caught up and on board.
Yes.
And then from there, it's getting your brand and the way people perceive you from the outside to
Yes.
see that. So it's been a really long transition,
Mm-hmm.
but it's only going in the right direction. And
Yeah.
the better you get, the more people you can enroll on your team. And then the more people on your team you enroll, the more that you can enroll prospects and members and your community. But it's just, I know we have the term, we call it the moose cock,
Yep.
and the longer you have been doing it, the more debt you have to pay back, similar to like financially.
Yes.
And so it's just a matter of having that paradigm shift in yourself,
Yeah.
and then getting so good at it, you can spread the gospel, so to speak, to everybody around you.
Can you describe the moose cock for people who don't know?
The moose cock is so fitness has over the last few years become looked at as a commodity from the casual consumer. Every gym looks like the same gym.
Yeah.
And so I think, to be frank, my opinion is CrossFit is so amazing and I love it so much, and I think it's phenomenal, right? And it just exploded. You know what I mean? It got like kind of like the real estate game. You know what I mean? When real estate just went berserk, and then it had the real estate bubble. You know, they called it.
Yeah.
So I mean, CrossFit was such a phenomenon and such a transformative movement.
Yeah.
In fitness, it took fitness to a whole new world, a whole new level, kind of like Michael Jordan did with the NBA.
Sure.
And so what happens is CrossFit, from the casual consumer perspective, looks like a franchise.
Yes.
Right? And people know what a franchise is. It's rules, regulations. When you walk in to one Subway, you walk in LA, it's the same Subway in Sioux Falls.
Yeah.
Your expectation is the same commodity-driven product, right?
Right.
So what happens is, as CrossFit exploded, it looked like a franchise, but it's not a franchise. Every single CrossFit you walk into has similar terminology, methodology, term structure, workouts. It's similar, but it's a completely different gym. The personality is totally self-driven and totally different.
Yeah.
And so an educated or smart consumer, or somebody that's inside those gyms, understands the difference.
Yeah.
But people that are outside the gyms, all gyms look the same.
Right.
You see kipping pull-ups, you see bounding box jumps, you see squat cleans, you see handstand walks, you see all these really scary things that the casual consumer is totally ignorant to. Yeah. And so they label it because they're scared. They don't want to do it, they won't do it, or they don't believe they can do it.
Yeah.
So, and you know as well as anybody, when you see a good movie, you tell like one or two of your friends.
Yes.
When you see a bad movie, you tell 10 or 20 of your friends.
Yeah.
And so that's what happened, is they've done such a hard job protecting their brand, but like it was so unbelievably fast and such a tidal wave that it just wasn't equipped for the amount of it, just like the real estate bubble.
Sure. Yeah.
And so that's why gyms like ours personally brand themselves.
Yeah.
So they can literally get back to, because it's crazy, dude, right? So the first time we're in Sioux Falls, from 2009 to 11, I would walk around the street in my Vibrams.
Yes.
And people would say, "What are you wearing?"
Yep.
And I said, "Oh, these are my Vibrams." So they're like, "What's Vibram?" I'm like, "Oh, it's blah, 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 barefoot."
Yeah.
They're like, "Wow." I'm like, "You should really come to my gym and check it out." I'm like, "Yeah, that's interesting."
Yes.
2009.
Right.
That's how I would get people to come to the gym.
Yeah.
But they're like, "Oh, so what do you do in Sioux Falls?" And I'm like, "Oh, I run this gym in town. It's called CrossFit." And they're like, "Oh, what's CrossFit?"
Yeah.
So then I would say, "Oh, we have no machines." And they're like, "You're a gym and you have no machines?" "Yeah, we have no machines, no treadmills, no leg press, no pec deck." They would go, "Huh, that's interesting."
Yeah.
And then I would go, point number 2. Every day our workout's different.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Really? You mean it's not chest and bis on Monday, back and tris on Tuesdays and cardio on Wednesdays?" I'm like, "No, every day is completely different." And they're like, "Wow, that's fascinating."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Yeah." And the third point is we time or measure our score. So you actually know objectively if you had a good workout or a shitty workout. And they're like, "Wow, that's interesting." So I'd come in and they're like, "Yeah, I want to check it out." They come and do the baseline, they'd throw up and they'd sign up.
Yeah.
That was CrossFit in 2009.
Yeah.
Now, in 2018, people go, "Hey, what do you do?" And I run this gym. And they're like, "Is it like a CrossFit?"
Right.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so this is what I say personally. I go, "Oh, do you like CrossFit or not?" And they go, "Oh, I love it." And I go, "Yeah, we're kind of like that."
Yep.
And then if they say, "No, I hate CrossFit," I'm like, "Yeah, we don't do that. We're
Yes. Yeah.
So nobody knew what it was. So they thought it was Chris and Annie's gym in 2009.
Got it.
Now everybody knows what it is.
Yeah.
So we say it's Chris and Annie's gym.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just crazy, dude. You know what I mean?
I do. It's a dance, because I want to build on what you just said. Like, so I want to make a delineation between CrossFit the methodology and CrossFit the brand.
Totally.
And how CrossFit the methodology is the timeless principles upon which the optimization of fitness for any person, any skill level can be reached.
Yes.
Right. It's based on function. It's based on functional movements that you see in nature that predate gyms. It's based on the variance of those movements that mimic life, and it's based on the intensity of those movements coupled together that mimic emergency, sport, first response, and military battlefield type stuff. So pretty much the unknown and the unknowable. That mixture with the nutritional prescription, and it's based on empiricism. Those are the timeless principles that forever have changed the landscape of fitness and will forever be the landscape of fitness.
100%.
So there's that. But then there's also on the other end the brand of CrossFit, which people associate with the ESPN gladiatorial.
Rich Froning.
Right. Yep. Yes. And so I also have had experiences with prospects and people that I've spoken with when they just hear the name CrossFit, they either recoil in fear or they want nothing to do with it. And it's sad because they might have had their lives changed by it. So
right.
The way I deal with it now in 2018 is I treat it the same way that you have to treat, like, do you have pets? Like,
I do. I have a dog.
Pets? Okay, so when the dog gets sick, you need to give the dog antibiotics.
Right.
And in order to give the dog antibiotics, you have to sneak the antibiotics inside the dog's food.
Yep.
And then the dog will eat it.
Because the dog doesn't know any better.
The dog doesn't know any better. So now, whether I'm going to, I personally have chosen to include CrossFit in my branding and in my marketing.
Right.
Because to take it away, to me personally, feels like a betrayal to the thing that has
understood.
You know what I mean?
I totally get you. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I know that in making that choice, that will cost me potential prospects down the line, but it will also align me with other people down the line. So, But with the people who recoil, I may or may not withhold the name just so I can sneak the methodology into the dog food.
Right.
So I'm basically going to, I'm going to trick them into doing the shit that they should do anyway because of outside market forces. That's giving it a bad name. So I totally get that. I get both sides of the coin. I understand why. Like if you associate it only with the ESPN games, you're going to only attract the 20-something-year-olds who are good athletes already and don't have injuries, and you're going to repel the people who are 30 plus who are professionals.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and it doesn't take a genius to see that CrossFit has shifted their marketing message a little bit to.
Oh yeah, a lot of it.
So and good for them. Like
absolutely,
good for them.
They're changing their strategy, just like we're talking about.
Yeah. So, but I want to say what the moose cock refers to is the.
Oh yeah, we forgot to talk about that.
Yeah, it's okay. The predictable, repeatable lifestyle that comes with opening up a gym under a certain set of principles that are based on low price, high client turnover. It's not good for the client. It's not good for the coaches, and it's not good for the business owner. So the client will get an inferior product and potentially unsafe product. The coach will not get paid. Will get paid pennies on the dollar for overworking themselves and burning out, and the gym owner and the business itself will not be viable outside of like a few years.
It's the commodity-driven
correct
product.
Yes.
Because this is exactly your point. Like, so the big box Globo gyms, right?
Yes.
That's what all these small affiliate CrossFit personal brand gyms, that's their only comparable business model that they've had since they started. Right. So until the last few years, owners are getting smarter. The trends and watching things and learning the metrics. Yeah. And it's literally, we have to create a whole new business model from scratch. I remember when I tried to sell the business, when I was selling the business for the first time, I had nobody that I can consult with. Nobody knew how to evaluate the gym. Right. Nobody knew how to evaluate membership lists. Right. There was no formula, like standard business formula of like revenue times this. Because this was a whole new model. And so the commercial traditional gym model is low barrier of entry, financially, commitment, everything, high volume, high turnover. And so what happens is, I remember, one of the gyms we were at, there was a 24-hour fitness across the street. And it was a huge one. It was like 35,000 square feet, something like huge. Bro, they had like 25,000 members, right?
Yeah, I believe it.
And so it would be literally impossible to fit a quarter of all those people if they showed up half of the time, right? So it's like their model is give people to sign up, but nobody would show up. And so our model is the complete opposite. So the business model needs to be the opposite. And so if the consumer keeps looking at it from a global perspective business model and they compare that to what we do, It's totally wrong.
Yeah.
And the problem with what we got too is we're not like doctors.
Right.
People go to a doctor when they're sick because they have to.
Yes.
In people's mind, they don't have to work out now. They can wait till Monday.
Right.
They can start in the fall. No,
Right.
if they don't have to exercise, a lot of times they won't. So we have to turn into influencers versus order takers.
Yes.
Because essentially, doctors are prescription order takers.
Yeah.
And if you have a headache, if you have some kind of, infection, you pop a pill, it goes away. Like, we have to influence people now so that it doesn't cost them later. And human beings are always going to take the path of least resistance to the degree that they can. And so we have to be influencers, which is the hardest job of any.
Yeah.
And so the difference is that we have, exponential more impact that we can do on people, but we have to get so good that we can get them to see that.
100%. And also I'm going to add, because I came from the medical industry as well.
Yeah, that's right.
The window of influence for any medical professional is extremely small. It's like 15 minutes per 3 months.
Right.
Which is basically nothing. Where you and I have like an hour every 2 to 3 days. Like we see our people, and plus we see our people in that 1 hour. Our people show us parts of themselves that they don't show their own friends and family. Like they're more vulnerable with us physically and emotionally and personally than their doctors, their family. It's an intense, competitive, supportive environment. It's not built for everybody, but we get to affect change en masse in a way that the medical professional, in the way that is the envy of the medical profession.
Absolutely.
And so it's therefore we should our compensation should be commensurate with such a change, with that kind of impact.
If we have more power than a general practitioner,
yes.
Why is the pay scale on par?
Yes, correct.
If we have just as much impact as a physical therapist, as a chiropractor, we have to,
if not superior to.
Exactly. We have more power and more resources and more ability to help somebody. Yeah. And the pay scale is not even close to on par. The brand I think is not even on par. So that's the thing. It's a brand culture shift.
The professionalization of training is what I think MadLab got right. Like I think the model is the best that we can hope for in any kind of gym business right now, because it's a
if
different.
People want high service.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely.
Exactly correct. So for example, like when I had a gym, when I had my gym, when I had a business, a typical like legal retaining fee is like $10,000. That's $1,000 an hour.
Yep.
So, but no one would dare charge that kind of money to someone who's training. You know what I mean? Right. And but the service rendered from legal retainer versus CrossFit trainer or whatever trainer, it's not even close.
Not even close.
Yeah, and the people who are being compensated, that gap is huge. And so how best to account for that? As with like MadLab, as good as it is, I myself haven't wrapped myself around that answer yet, because I think at its best, a trainer can make like 10 to 12 grand a month.
Right.
Which is awesome as a trainer, which is awesome. But if you live in LA near the beach,
it's not going to happen.
Yeah, after taxes, it's not a lot. Like you can't do a lot with it. Like, and that sucks. You know what I mean?
It's not fun.
No, and so that's kind of like that's part of the dance. But at the same time, money is not everything, and there are people who make $100,000 in like a month, either in tech or in e-commerce, who are not emotionally, physically, spiritually fulfilled.
They're far worse off. Absolutely.
Exactly right. Yeah. So there is a give and take with every choice that we make.
There's a trade. Yeah, life is just full of trades, man.
Yes.
It's just trade this for that. Trade weather for traffic. Trade, no state income tax for a lot of state income tax.
Yes. So what would you say have been your like most influential or top 3 business lessons the last like 5 years?
Huh.
Because you've been through a lot of shit. Like you've been through. Right. You and Annie have moved twice between California and Sioux Falls. You've been a member of like multiple gyms with multiple personalities and multiple business models.
Right.
And so now you're settled into this place that's actually good. You have a good staff. You guys are on the same page, and there's hope for the future. That was not an accident. That was a result of hardcore face punching trial and error and hard knocks. So what have been your 3 major takeaways to lead you to this place?
It's freaking tough, dude. Like,
I know.
That's like when somebody asks me what the workout is tomorrow, and I know all the workouts of the rest of the week.
Yes.
For the day that they tell me. It happens every single time. 3 biggest business lessons. Huh?
Well, okay. How about this? Go back to 2009, Chris Mello.
Okay.
And just be like,
oh, here we go. I got it.
Yeah. Go.
Okay. So I got these ingredients for life, right? And they totally apply to business.
All right, go.
I got to find it. So let me. I have it written down somewhere.
I love it.
But one of the ingredients in life is you have to have acceptance.
Acceptance of what?
Of yourself.
Okay.
You have to accept where you are. So check this out, right? Where you are today, Zeb Pasquale.
Yes.
You are perfect. Okay?
Okay.
Every thought that you've had, every behavior that you've done, everything that you've done up to this point is you are perfect right now.
Okay.
Okay?
I might argue that point, but yes, thank you.
If you are unsatisfied with your perfect nature at this point, all you have to do is to continue to develop yourself to the standard that you want to be.
Okay.
So I think what happens is we get it twisted. We justify and judge and make excuses and don't take responsibility for who we are and what we've done. But that's not the point. The point is we are perfect exactly where we are. But if we want more, we just need to become more.
Yes.
And the journey, the struggle, is where you learn how to find that better version of yourself. So acceptance is number 1.
Okay.
And this is not in any particular order. These are all equal importance.
Gotcha.
The second one would be resourcefulness.
Okay.
Now, going to your point, your quick help question on where I was in 2009.
Yeah.
So when we were at that point in the first gym, that 1.5 year mark, where everything was going well, but when somebody said they were interested in, when we found an opportunity to sell the gym, the real reason why I sold the gym was because I hit a glass ceiling with where I was at.
Okay.
Emotionally.
Yes.
Because I had no idea how to scale the business.
Yeah.
I was a slave to the gym.
Yes.
We hit that all-encompassing 150 member mark, and I felt like I was wearing 150 hats.
Yes.
Where the marketing, the coaching, the development, my personal workouts, this, that, I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to do. I wasn't resourceful.
Yeah.
So the second one would be resourcefulness.
Yes.
When I got to move back to California and I lifted the gym owner hat off of my plate, I totally felt like 50 pounds was lifted off my shoulders.
Yes. 100%.
So I got to not necessarily relax, but reset. And I learned through taking the pressure off of me, I learned how to become resourceful.
Okay.
And by that, if I didn't know what to do, I knew what I needed to do to learn how to find it, or who to ask, or where to go, And so resourcefulness was huge for me.
Okay.
In the last 5 years.
Awesome. It's so important to
it's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, so number 1 is...
Oh, the other one is courage. You got to have courage, right?
Well, you said acceptance is number 1, and then number 2 is resourcefulness.
And then the third one is courage.
Okay.
We're kidding ourselves if you think you're not going to get scared at certain points or have fear. Right. You're kidding yourself if you think you're not going to make mistakes. It's laughable.
Oh, it's terrifying.
You think you can write a plan, a linear progression squat program, and you think you're going to hit your numbers every week? I laugh.
Absolutely not.
In your face. Yeah. You're kidding me.
Yeah.
You think you get in a relationship with your wife or your girlfriend and your soulmates, and you're never going to rock the boat? Right. You got to be kidding me. You have to have courage to take action.
Yes.
Action cures everything.
Yes.
Okay. And even wrong action is action because it teaches you how to create the right action.
I love that.
It's just funny. And I do it. I'm talking to myself. You know what I mean? You just gotta the whole relationship marketing, right? I'm really good at Snapchat, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I can hide behind the 24-hour window.
Right.
I can send it to who I want to.
Right.
I don't have a lot of Snap friends. So I can totally be me and goofy and crass and cocky. because I'm not afraid of what people think, because I know what people are going to think, because it's, but when I have to do an Instagram selfie, or have to go live stream and I don't know what to say, or I have to get on a podcast, and I'm like, whoa, bro, you just got to do it. Like, you got to have courage.
Yes, agreed, 100%.
So it's acceptance, it's resourcefulness, it's courage.
Awesome.
The fourth one is discipline. You got to have freaking discipline.
Yep, agreed.
Like, motivation is so fake and so fickle.
Yeah.
Like, discipline. You're motivated after you act, not before. I got to get motivated so I get to the gym. BS, dude. Mm-hmm. You're motivated after you get to the gym. You have to be disciplined to do it whether you want to or not, to have rules for yourself. Mm-hmm. And that's action. That's going to get it done. And the last one's attitude.
Okay.
I think that things, in 2009, things that took me 2 weeks, I would get pissed off for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
As I developed, it started to take me 2 days.
Yes.
And now instead of 2 days, it takes 2 hours, 20 minutes.
Because it has 2 minutes,
2 seconds. Yeah. You know what I mean? You got to tame and train your attitude.
Yes.
Because attitude isn't everything, but it's the first thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Those are my 5 things.
I love it, dude. And so with those 5 things, let's go through them again. So number 1 is acceptance. Number 2 is resourcefulness. Number 3 is courage. Number 4 is discipline. And then number 5 is attitude.
Yes.
So those 5 things applied to business will make or break the business. Like that is those 5 things are responsible for where the good place that you are in right now.
Right.
Awesome.
And honestly, it translates to your fitness.
Yes.
It translates to your relationships.
Mm-hmm.
It translates to your finances. That's the thing. Like, those are my principles. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, for anything in life, if you can grade yourself on those 5 things,
yes, that's
the degree of success that you have in those areas.
Okay, awesome. So now I want to project into the future a little bit. Describe your perfect day. Describe your perfect day when your twins are 5 years old.
Oh my God, are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Dude, get on your seatbelt, right?
Okay.
So, people have goals, right?
Yeah.
But why do people have goals? There's 2 reasons why. People have goals for other people, mm-hmm. or for their dream. That's it. That's how you can break down any freaking goal.
Yeah, okay? Yeah.
So here, do you know my answer, by the way? Are you probing me, or you do not know?
I actually don't know. I haven't talked to you.
Okay. So here's the deal, right? My personal fitness, mm-hmm. Has gone through seasons, just mm-hmm. like anything, right? Before, mm-hmm. when I started CrossFit, it was a 500-pound deadlift and a 5-minute mile, right?
Yep.
And then it turned into, okay, I got to lift a lot of weight. So I started doing LP for mm-hmm. a year and a half.
What's LP?
And then linear progression.
Okay,
started squatting, squatting and sprinting.
Yep.
And then it turned into mobility. I took mobility on for a couple of years, really wanted to learn mobility stuff. Mm-hmm. And so now my season is handstands, mm-hmm. okay? So I'm 6'4", mm-hmm. 205, 210 pounds, long motherfucker, right?
Yeah.
Not really looked at as a gymnast mm-hmm. or someone that can stand on their hands, right?
Yes.
But my goal in fitness now is to look pretty good naked and party tricks.
Okay. Yes, I love it. I love it.
And feel good. So I've always flirted with handstands over the last few years. Mm-hmm. And I never get anywhere because you have to really commit as an adult to learn a high school exercise like that, or it's just never going to work.
Yeah.
So Annie and I last year are really serious about having kids. Mm-hmm. And I started asking myself, well, shit, if I'm ever going to learn this handstand, if she got pregnant literally the next day, I'd have 9 months to figure this out before my life is over.
Yes.
So, lo and behold, she gets pregnant in February.
Yep.
Holy shit, I literally have 9 months to figure this out, or it's never going to happen.
Yes.
So I hire a handstand coach online that I met on Instagram.
I remember you told me this,
Yeah, so I've been working with this handstand coach, right? And it's super legit. And this handstand training is the hardest training I've ever done in my life.
Yes.
And so why am I doing this handstand training? There's no real, it doesn't make any sense, right?
Right.
Until I tell you the dream. It makes sense.
Okay.
So here's my dream. The boys are 6 or 7 years old. Mm-hmm. It's 2026 or
Okay.
27.
Okay.
We are going home from Sioux Falls to California for Christmas to visit our family. We're in the Sioux Falls airport.
Mm-hmm.
It is a moderately busy time at the airport. It's not slow and it's not crazy. Annie is checking our bags at the terminal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hanging out in the back with the two boys, Jax and Connor.
Yeah.
So I'm just hanging out, laughing with them and whatever. And so all of a sudden I go to them and I go, "Hey boys, you want to race down the terminal?" And they're like, "Yeah." So they like laugh and they wink at me. And so we all get up on our hands and we sprint down the terminal on our hands, the three of us.
Awesome.
And then everybody's looking like, what the fuck are
Yeah.
these people, crazy people doing?
Yeah.
And then Annie looks over and sees us and she's just about to get like pissed.
Yes.
But then she looks and she goes, "That's really cool." And she
Awesome.
smiles.
Awesome, dude.
So
I
the
love it.
handstand, the dream is super dad.
I love it. I love it. I can totally see you doing that.
Yeah, I think I will.
I love
I'll
it, man.
video it.
I love
No,
it.
but yeah, I mean, it's just fun, dude. It's like we talked about, like, it's just, I think fitness is like physical autonomy.
Yes.
And you should want, deserve, and have the body that you need, the
100%.
body that you want to attain.
100%.
And, that's my thing right now is like, if I can walk on my hands, I can do anything.
I love it. Yeah, because my next question was going to be, what is your message to people who want to get started on a gym or to get started on a fitness regimen because they know it's important, but they're just scared? Like, what's your
Yeah.
message to those people?
It's tough, man. I mean, it's almost hard to like put myself in those shoes just because
You've been doing it for so long.
I'm so in this world, but
Right.
I think they have to find a coach, especially if they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I've looked for, and anybody successful in life in any endeavor, they have coaches.
Yeah.
You even think of professional athletes, like how many coaches do they have, which is part of the reason why they're at the top of the game,
Yes.
Any business, they have multiple coaches. Like, so if somebody doesn't know what to do, it doesn't have the resourcefulness,
Yeah.
they have to find somebody that knows what they're talking about.
Right.
And and that's like for me and you, it's like it's our job to go find those people, but it's their job to be open to the change.
Yes.
So I think if they don't know what to do with gyms or this or that, I think they need to find a coach. They need
Yes.
to take a professional approach to their body, just
Yes.
like they would with their family or their business or anything like that. Like fitness needs to be viewed with that importance.
I agree. Yeah, the way I tell it to people is it has to be associated in your mind with equal or superior value to brushing your teeth or taking a shower.
Exactly.
So like everyone has a subconscious standard below which they will not allow themselves to not brush their teeth or to not take a shower.
Yeah.
That's like I would say it's like 2 days maybe,
Yep.
two or 3 days, and then you're just fucking gross. So I think you and I and everyone who is doing this and realizes how important this is have that same relationship towards working out.
Yeah.
And like I'm going to prove it right now, just because I want people to know that the only difference between people who are in shape and people who are not in shape is what they do with their time.
Absolutely.
And so, Chris, when was your last workout?
Today.
And what did you do?
So I had a 5:15 in the morning personal client,
Yeah.
and so he canceled.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to the CPM gym
Mm-hmm.
and I did the 5:45 workout. So we did 20 clean and jerks.
Yep.
We did 20 box jumps.
Mm-hmm.
We did 4 rope climbs.
Ooh.
And we did 4 200-meter sprints. It was a 30-minute, as many rounds as possible. And it
I
was
love
with a
that.
partner. So we split the reps.
Okay. And before that, when was the workout previous to that?
It was, so let's see. Today's what, Friday?
Today is Friday.
Thursday, I spent an hour and 32 minutes working on my handstand mobility and training.
Awesome. And last time, before that one?
Wednesday, it was a 4:45 workout.
Mm-hmm.
We did deficit deadlifts. We did ring push-ups.
Mm-hmm.
We did double unders
Yes.
and ball slams.
Awesome. So I'm not going to ask anymore, but for
Get the
people,
idea.
yeah. But for people listening, you can see that I did not confer with Chris before this call. Like I haven't actually talked to him in months, except for texting. But it's obvious that he makes time for fitness in his daily life. And when's your next workout going to be?
After this, I'm going to finish my handstand work.
Okay, so he not only has he made time previous, but he already knows when the next workout is. It's not like, oh, I don't know, maybe tomorrow, or I don't know. It's the answer wasn't like maybe I'll do it Saturday or Sunday. It's like, no, after this, I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? So
absolutely,
this is more for like my listeners.
Absolutely,
you know, and and it's easy for people. Yeah, it's like easy for people to say, oh, because he works in a gym, you're a gym owner, then it's easy to work out. No, it's actually harder.
It's actually
the
running joke.
Yes.
Rob Wolf talks about this all the time.
Yeah,
if you want to get in the worst shape of your life, open a gym.
Exactly. Yes, you get zero workout time, like when you're
because it's for everybody else.
Exactly right. Yeah. So, but I also do understand that it's intimidating and that it's challenging, but it's either you're going to be intimidated sitting around or you're going to be intimidated taking action. So might as well just, like what Chris said, just take action and do it.
You know what I mean? And the thing is whatever they're thinking, everybody thinks that.
Yes.
I think the big thing with a lot of people that don't take action is they think they're on their own island.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it can never happen to me. I'm way out of shape. Like, everybody thinks the same thing.
Yeah.
I think you could agree. Like, if there's a workout that you know that's going to be tough for you, you are not looking forward to it.
No.
It's uncomfortable.
No. But I'm still going to do it.
But you're still going to do it. You're going to take the courage and you're going to go. And so what people do with or don't do with their body, like everybody has the same thoughts. Mm-hmm. It's just, what's your behavior going to be? You know, what are you going to let those thoughts do to influence your behavior?
Yes. Agreed. All right, my buddy. I got to wrap it up here.
Let's wrap it up.
But okay, so whether you have a gym or not, like whether you live in California or Norway or Australia or Tokyo, can you name, this is for people who have a gym or not, what are your 5 movement selections that could provide reasonably comprehensive fitness for anybody?
Anybody.
Yeah, so for example...
So we're talking to like the 90% of people that don't work out?
Sure, yeah.
I don't know, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because I'm trying to think of it right now. Like, for example, my answer would be like clean and jerk, snatch, handstand, pull-ups, running. You know what I mean? What are the, if you could only select 5 and create a minimum.
But let me do this. Let's do this. Because I know your listeners probably know what that is.
Yes,
but
right.
What about your listeners that know people that have no concept of the gym? You know what I mean? Like, I would even take it down to the human level.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Go even a step under that. You know what I mean?
Yes. So I would. So okay, yeah, I like that. So
what would be your basics, your Zeb fundamentals? You know.
Right. Yeah. It would be run, swim.
Yep.
Rock climb.
Okay.
Deadlift. Squat. Where the deadlift is picking objects off the ground and squatting is sitting down and standing up.
Right.
Those would be that would be like my baseline fundamentals.
I love that. So I would say run or walk for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, and preferably with the weight vest, but that's another story.
Sure.
I would say push-ups.
Okay.
Because you could do push-ups anywhere.
Yep.
I would definitely say squats.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, some type of pulling or hanging.
Yes.
Because, all these people have these low back issues.
Mm-hmm.
If they just started hanging out on the monkey bars or the pull-up bar or a doorway thing.
Yes. Because
when people walk in the gym, I assume 2 things. I assume 3 things. They have no grip strength because of today's world. Mm-hmm. They have no core strength because they sit in chairs. Mm-hmm. And they're totally inflexible.
Yes.
So
100%.
I would say the hanging for the stretch and the grip. I would say the squats to move your whole body. I would say the push-ups because you could do them anywhere. And everybody's got to up their heart rate by walking or running.
Yes.
And I mean, that would be like the bare bones. I don't have a gym.
Right.
I don't have a gym membership. I'm scared to see anything. If they just did something of that,
yes,
they would move the needle.
I love it. Yeah, I agree.
I like that question.
Yeah. Dude, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thanks, brother.
Say hi to Annie for me. Congratulations on the kids.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations on life, because I remember when you were here and it was just, everything just seemed kind of, not hopeless, but it was bad.
Yeah, it was just a transition, man. It was like, what the heck are you going to do with your life? You know?
Yes. I knew you'd get yourself out of it, but it's just, as a friend, it's hard to watch. So, but I love you tons.
Thanks, brother. Love you back.
Yeah, I will see you on the next business call.
Totally.
I'm glad you're there now, man.
Cool, man.
Glad you're there. All right, I'll talk to you later, dude.
Thanks, brother.
Okay.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.